am not going to do a specific post-fight breakdown on Devin Haney's win and Ryan Garcia's loss on the Fatal Fury fight card from May 3rd. I apologize, May 2nd, mainly because you couldn't possibly pay me any amount of money to have to rewatch either one of those fights. That was sheer torture when we watched it in live time. We did do a live stream if you would like to revisit the card from halfway through Teofimo's fight versus Arnold Barbosa, through Devin Haney's fight and Ryan Garcia's fight. That is posted under our lives playlist. But in summary, I will basically restate some of the points I've made before when I broke down Devin's fight with Ryan that took place back on April 20th, 2024. In that original Haney versus Garcia breakdown, I did point out one fatal flaw that Ryan has in terms of his defense. I'll post a link to that video, and I'll type out the timestamp of where you can find that right here. Now, that fatal flaw that Ryan displays in his defense is what led to him getting clipped by the left hook of Rolly Romero. So the bottom line with both Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney is this: they are both advanced amateurs still, because they left the amateur ranks from the kids division to jump straight into the professional ranks as teenagers. Neither Devin nor Ryan ever fought grown men in the amateur divisions. Any athlete in any sport who's transitioned from doing that sport as a kid to doing that sport as an adult will tell you there's a big wake-up call that happens when you move from being, say, the teenager division into the adult division, where you're now facing competition that could be, in their mid-30s, or they could easily have 10 years of experience at that level, and you're just starting out. So, for example, in the amateur boxing competitions, we call that the open class division for the senior men. Senior does not mean senior citizen. It's like senior as opposed to junior is for the kids division. Now, I believe they've also added a youth division for those teenager years, and they probably don't say senior anymore. I think they call it something else. I don't know if they call it elite, but the point being, there used to be just kids divisions and then adults divisions, and then a lot of sports added sort of this middle range to help kids transition into fighting adults. They created that teenager division. But my point is, neither Devin nor Ryan ever competed in the adult division. Had they done so, they would have been forced to deal with a couple of things. Firstly, they would have definitely gotten dominated their first few outings. Grown men who were likely stronger than them, and who likely had a bigger skill set than them, and who were likely a little bit meaner than them. And they would have had to face reality and decided, either I want to do this still, or you know what, I'm good, I'm out of here. I was fantastic as a kid, but I think I'll just call it a day. I have definitely seen that happen to more than a few athletes. They were this superstar kid, but they just couldn't stomach that transition from being a superstar kid to being a beginner in the adult division and getting their handed to them by people who were many years their senior. There's that for most people, unless you're an absolute prodigy, there's this really awkward couple of years where you have to just suck it up and know that, in a few years, you're going to grow, you're going to mature, and you will be on the other side of those 20-year-olds very shortly. So Ryan and Devin never faced that transition mentally and emotionally. On the physical side of things, they would have also have realized they need to learn how to fight on the inside. Neither Devin nor Ryan can fight on the inside. They don't even bother to try to fight on the inside. I don't even know if they've asked their trainers to help teach them how to fight on the inside, because they're basically white belts on the inside game. So again, this takes a little bit of a mindset thing, because you'd have to humble yourself, say, you know what, I really suck at this. Can you please help me? Can you please teach me? And then you have to try to do it in sparring. And again, you're going to get your handed to you by guys who do know how to fight on the inside. But that is the way you learn how to fight on the inside. You got to spar with people that know how to fight on the inside, and they'll teach you. Remember, sparring is not supposed to be about always dominating. Sparring is supposed to be a learning experience. Now, I had the good fortune of growing up boxing-wise in Gleason's gym when there was no social media. So everybody was more sincere about the reasons that they were there, and that was because they wanted to be a boxer. So I had the benefit of being able to spar, or at least I would say move around in the ring with professional males who were clearly, obviously, bigger than me, stronger than me, and far more skilled than me. But they were gracious enough to show me different aspects of how you actually fight on the inside. That's something that you can't watch a video about. You can't even read about it. You can't have somebody verbally try to explain it to you. You've got to see it in live time right in front of you with a warm body who's moving around. So these guys were so kind to me. They would sort of stop the action and show me what to do next, like how to make a little step and shift and where to throw my punches. Now, that said, I feel like Ryan and Devin just aren't willing to humble themselves. They've always been these superstar kids and they want to hang on to that identity, even though they're now fighting at a world-class, in quotations, level as adult professionals. Devin Haney showed us clearly that he can't and won't fight on the inside. Every time Jose got near, he just threw the 2 double underhooks and clinched up. And Ryan just never really got off enough to even have the inside game be a question. But this is why I said before, and I will say again, that both Devin and Ryan are C-class fighters. Does that mean they're making C-class money? No, they are making A+. And even though we as fight fans are not paying Ryan or Devin's purses, I feel like we got ripped off because we devoted our time and attention to those horrendous excuses for a fight last night, May 3rd. Finally, notice the difference in skills exhibited by the Teofimo Lopez versus Devin and Ryan. Well, that's because Teo did fight in the adult division. He was an Olympian. That means he contended against other grown men at the international level. Neither Devin nor Ryan did that. Whenever a young athlete steps up from being a dominant athlete at the national level to stepping out there on the international level, again, that's an eye-opening experience. You realize how much more is out there and where you fall in that lineup. You're exposed not only to other cultures, but you're exposed to other fighting styles. You're probably exposed to other training methodologies, and it's just a huge paradigm shift for you as a young athlete. So Teofimo Lopez benefited from that experience. Devin and Ryan never put themselves up to that level of competition where they would have been taking a risk of perhaps not winning, not dominating on an international level. Now, the bottom line here is there's no shortcuts. You can't jump from being a fantastic amateur kid to being a fantastic professional adult without going through the amateur adult division. There's no shortcuts. I mean, yes, Ryan and Devin, maybe they're making the big dollars, but they totally glossed over an entire mental skill set, an entire physical skill set. They can't go back in time and get a do-over on that. So they either have to figure it out in the gym with a really patient, kind boxing trainer, or they just have to try to carry on with the limited skill set that they have. Regardless, if you feel like whinging about the money you paid for that horrible fight card last night, or if you just want to share your thoughts on Ryan or Devin, please feel free to leave that in the comments. Thanks for listening.